Going on, guys? Bill here from DFS Fantasy Factory. I'm going to be making a video today on Week 1 tournament GPP picks and give you some lineup ideas as well. If you're new to this channel, that's pretty much all we cover here. All I cover here is GPP. That's all I play. I've been playing for like the last 10 years. Been profitable for the last 5 years. Had a really good year. Last year in DFS playing GPPs. I just kind of go with the strategy and stick with it. At the end of this video, I'll explain to you my GPP strategy and how I kind of stay profitable playing GPPs. So if you stick around to the end, I'll give you that. If you like the content in this video, make sure you hit that like button. Comment your favorite player of the slate down in the comment section, or if you have any questions about the slate, feel free to put it down there. I'll respond to all comments. And just hit the subscribe to the channel button so that you get notified when I make future videos. If you don't already have a lineup optimizer, make sure you have one for GPP. Everybody needs a lineup optimizer. I use the Stokastic, formerly known as Osmo. They're at the top. They're a little pricey. All the information on this video will be coming from Stokastic. It's definitely going to be my number one pick for lineup optimizers, but there's also Fantasy Nerds and Fantasy Pros. Both of these I've used before in the past, and they've done very well. Their projections are very good. I'm actually going to be doing a video after this. Basically, just taking the three optimizers here on this page and putting them against each other, their optimal lineups, and just seeing who performs the best. I'm thinking they're going to be pretty close because they all have great projections, but we'll do that throughout the season just to see which one of these pull ahead on the kind of like the best projections on their optimizer. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you get notified. I'm going to be making that video here right after this one. Also, if you decide to purchase one of them optimizers, make sure you use the link in the description of the video, because if you use that link, you'll also receive my DFS cheat sheet every Sunday. Before lock, it'll have lineups on it. It'll have all my favorite plays. You must use the link in the video description to get the DFS cheat sheet. So once you do that, just screenshot your new order proof and send it to the DFS Fantasy Factory at gmail.com. That'll be in the description as well. But we'll go ahead and jump into this here. We'll start with the quarterbacks. I kind of put it in order here. I got the three like fingers right here for the ones that I like the most. And obviously the ones that I kind of like. These are going to be for GPPs. So it's not going to be the sexy names like Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts and all them guys. It's going to be the ones that we're taking shots on to try to get leverage over the field. So my top three here is Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, and Aaron Rodgers. Derek Carr, he's pretty kind of easily explained. Devontae Adams is there now. They played together in college. He's cheap. He's low owned, 6.1% owned. It says here that the defense versus that position for the Chargers is 31st in the league. So apparently Chargers aren't very good against the pass. So that'd be a good option running Derek Carr. The cheaper the quarterback, the less points that you need to get. So it's kind of like, that's why I like to do that. So like, as you can see, Jameis Winston is actually my favorite play of the on the quarterbacks. They're playing the 25th worst defense, pass defense. His salary is only $5,300. He's only 4.6% owned. Michael Thomas is supposed to be playing today, so that's a good thing as well. There's if you look at it, with 5,300, he only needs like 21, 22 points to pay off. He's already projected for 19. I think there's a good chance that they score a lot of points against Atlanta here. I think Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints are being slept on a little bit, so it's definitely a good shot to take there. And of course, my third one, Aaron Rodgers. He's a little more expensive at $7,000, but he's only 3.7% owned. He is the reason that I'm taking a shot on him is because he's so low owned, and all his receivers are so cheap as well. Like Romeo Doubs, Randall Cobb, they're all cheap. You can kind of stack them with Aaron Jones as well. So they'd be a great stack for a GPP tournament as well, since everybody's probably going to be on this Patrick Mahomes versus Kyler Murray stuff. I mean, you want to stay away from what everybody else is doing. That's how you stay profitable at GPPs, and you got to stick with what you do. But I'll show you at the end of the video here kind of what I do. Below that, with the 2 likes, we got Trevor Lawrence and Tua. Trevor Lawrence, I think he's going to be a lot better this year. They got a new coaching staff. They got Christian Kirk over there now. He's only 5,600. He's got some rushing upside, 2.4% owned. So he's projected ownership. He's going to be very, very low owned. And then we got Tua for 5,700. He's got Tyreek Hill this year, so they are playing the New England Patriots, who have a pretty good defense, but that's what's going to keep his ownership low. He's only at 2% owned. The fact that he's playing the New England Patriots, but if he takes off and he gets 2 touchdowns and maybe rushes 1 in, he more than likely will pay off and get above that 18.27 projection. You only need about 4x to pay off, so if he's 5,700, he probably needs about 22 points or so, 23 points, so pay off. So I'm definitely be a good option. You got Kirk Cousins here. Okay, these are the ones here. All right, so my favorite players out of the ones, the one likes, are Baker Mayfield, just because he's only 5,300 and 1.2% owned. That's a very low ownership. I feel like him and DJ Moore might actually do pretty good. He's got Christian McCaffrey as well. I mean, I'd be okay with stacking Baker Mayfield with Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore because Baker Mayfield is so low owned. I mean, if he throws 3 touchdowns, he's going to pay off that 5,300 salary. If he throws 2 to DJ Moore and, well, I guess maybe 2 to Christian McCaffrey and 1 to DJ Moore, something like that, it would definitely pay off the stack. So Baker Mayfield would be in a lot of my lineups. We also got Matt Ryan. That's a great option as well. He's only 5,500, 3.4% owned. He basically, the point of that is to get leverage over Jonathan Taylor. So you could run like Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman. Basically, in any lineups that you have Michael Pittman, don't run Jonathan Taylor, because one of them are probably going to go off and the other one's probably not. I mean, there's a chance that both of them can go off, but I assume that more than likely it'll be one or the other. So what I'll be doing, I mean, that's the point of this stack, would be to run the wide receivers and assume Jonathan Taylor doesn't go off. Or you can also run a little stack with like Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Pittman just to take a shot. Maybe he throws 4 touchdowns, 2 to Jonathan Taylor, 2 to Michael Pittman, and maybe Jonathan Taylor rushes 1 in too. I mean, that would be a nice hit for pretty much all 3 of them players. I know the odds aren't good, but that's what you're looking for, is these taking shots on places where the odds aren't good and then hoping they hit. We got Daniel Jones here too. The reason Daniel Jones is such a good pick is because he's only 5,000 salary, 3.7% owned. He's got some rushing upside as well. Kadarius Toney's looking good. I know they got another rookie wide receiver too. Can't remember his name right now, but it would definitely be a good option against Tennessee. Another one's at Kirk Cousins. I mean, obviously, he's got Justin Jefferson, but I mean, I wouldn't take Justin Jefferson. He's very high owned. I'd go more like a Kirk Cousins, maybe Adam Thielen and Irv Smith stack, or KJ Osborne as well. They're going to be lower owned and still a good chance to score a lot of points. So we'll go ahead and move to the running backs here. My top running backs that I have selected here are Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Dameon Pierce, A.J. Dillon, Ramondre Stevenson, and Damian Harris. And the reason I got Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris in there, not because I like them a lot, it's more because of their ownership is so low, 1.1% and 0.4%. Ramondre Stevenson's had a lot of good talk over the offseason. He's expected to, I mean, apparently he's looking better than Damian Harris, so at 5,500 and 1.1% ownership. It might be a good shot to take there, especially with he's a pass catching back as well. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, I mean, that's pretty explanatory. I mean, Aaron Rodgers will be throwing touchdowns probably to them guys because he trusts them. I mean, him and Cobb and Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, I mean, they all got passing, or Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon both catch some touchdowns. So, I mean, if you go back and look at Aaron Rodgers last year when he threw 4 or 5 touchdowns, like a lot of games there was like 2 of them going to Aaron Jones. So, and a lot of people don't run quarterback, running back, wide receiver stacks. So it's definitely a good option there. Dameon Pierce, he's just he's on there because he's very cheap, 5.1% ownership, not high owned. 4,800. You definitely can't beat that to take a shot on Dameon Pierce. Odds are he's a rookie. It's his first game. He's probably not going to do that well, but still worth taking a shot with the salary being so low for Dameon Pierce. We'll go ahead and move down here to the second tier. That's going to be Najee Harris, Antonio Gibson, Miles Sanders, Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs, and Kareem Hunt. Josh Jacobs is only on there because he's very low owned. I think there's a chance that they could have a shootout with the Chargers. If they get ahead with Davante Adams and Derek Carr, they might start running the ball with Josh Jacobs. Maybe he'll even catch a touchdown. Who knows, but I think it's a very good shot to take considering he's only 2.3% owned. Same with Kareem Hunt, 0.1%. Kareem Hunt's had some big games, man, just as big as Nick Chubb, like bigger games than Nick Chubb even sometimes. So, I mean, Kareem Hunt's definitely a great option to take a shot on at 0.1%. You're going to be like the only one, like one of the only ones in the field that have him. And he's not very expensive either at $5,700. So, Christian McCaffrey's all the way down at the bottom, of course, just because he's so high owned and everybody's going to be on Christian McCaffrey. The Browns have a pretty good defense. Says defense first position, 23rd, but I'm a Browns fan, and I know that the Browns have a pretty good defense. So for Christian McCaffrey to get there, and he needs like 35 fantasy points. I mean, that just seems like a little extreme. But I mean, I am going to take some Baker Mayfield stacks, assuming that Carolina wins. Maybe throw some Baker Mayfield, Christian McCaffrey, and DJ Moore, like I said. But I would say that I'm probably not going to get to Christian McCaffrey too often. I know I have Jonathan Taylor up here in the top, which is going to be kind of high owned too. He's at 14.9%, but 20% for Christian McCaffrey is a little extreme. And also, Jonathan Taylor's got a way better matchup against the Houston Texans. So we'll check out here. We got Najee Harris. He's 12.6% owned. He's not quite, not super low, but not super high either. I just feel like he gets so much work that, I mean, especially with a new quarterback, I would imagine they would try to give him some easy throws and stuff. And I think Najee Harris can be very involved. Antonio Gibson is another great option. He's only 10% owned, and that Brian Robinson, I think his name is, or whoever the guy that got shot, he's not going to be playing. He was supposed to be the favorite for the starting position. So that gives some more work to Antonio Gibson. We know Antonio Gibson had some big games last year. He's got a good matchup here, 28th versus the run for Jacksonville. Then we got Miles Sanders, which I hate playing Miles Sanders. He busts every time I play him, but he's only 6.4% owned. He's only 5,400, and he's playing the Detroit Lions. It don't get much better than that. I mean, you got to at least take a shot here and there. I mean, Detroit's just, their defense has been awful here lately. Travis Etienne, of course, there's a good shot there with James Robinson coming back from injury and expected to be limited. So Travis Etienne might actually get a heavier workload. So we'll go ahead and move to the next page here, the second last tier of running backs. We got Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, James Conner, Dalvin Cook, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Nick Chubb, Mike Davis, and Kenyon Drake. And the only reason that Mike Davis and Kenyon Drake are on here is because of J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins is dealing with that injury, which kind of gives them a bump. Obviously, it says 0 points projected for Kenyon Drake. That's just because J.K. Dobbins is still projected as questionable, and he's not out yet. But I have a feeling that he's not going to play. So Mike Davis and Kenyon Drake would definitely be a great option. Got 1.2% ownership for Mike Davis and 0.8% for Kenyon Drake, which that'll obviously come up some if J.K. Dobbins is out for both of them players. Another one of my favorites here is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's only 6% owned. Only 5,400 salary. That's expected to be a shootout game, so if Patrick Mahomes' stacks don't go off, there's a good chance that Clyde Edwards-Helaire maybe scored a couple rushing touchdowns. I think it's a really good shot at 6%. I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire is kind of let down a little bit and kind of over the offseason. Been expected to not be a heavy carrier this year, but we'll definitely be taking shots on him in this high-scoring game. It's supposed to be a high-scoring game. We'll see how that actually happens because you know how that works sometimes. They bust and all the players don't do very well that everybody thought was going to do good. All right, we also got James Conner here at 8.4%. I think that's another good play, just same reason as Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So all these people stacking Kyler Murray, if that doesn't pan out for passing touchdowns or Kyler Murray running in touchdowns. The only other person there is James Conner. I think he's being kind of slept on here, 8.4% owned. It's kind of expensive at $7,000, but it's definitely worth taking some shots on. We also got, let's see here, Derrick Henry's at 14.9%. He's one of the little pricey guys, but I feel like Derrick Henry always does good. He always gets a big workload, always scores touchdowns. So Derrick Henry is always a good shot to take on. Saquon Barkley, he's been talked about a lot all offseason. I don't know what to expect out of him yet, but he's 6,100, so he's very cheap. Could possibly be getting the same workload as some of these big heavy hitters like Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, people like that. He's really the only back there that's going to be getting a decent workload, so that's definitely a good shot to take there. And of course, some of these other guys too. Nick Chubb, he's only 4% owned. Nick Chubb is very capable of having a 25-point game, especially against the Carolina Panthers, who are 21st against the run. It's a great opportunity there to run some Nick Chubb. I know he splits carries with Kareem Hunt, but a lot of the times I'll take one or the other to put some Kareem Hunt in a couple lineups and some Nick Chubb in a couple other lineups. But we'll go ahead and move into the wide receivers here. Top tier wide receivers I got. Favorite ones. Chris Olave, Juju Smith-Schuster up here at the top, Michael Thomas, Christian Kirk, Rashard Bateman, Randall Cobb, Romeo Doubs, John Dotson, Kadarius Toney, and Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is one of my favorite picks because he's a veteran on that Green Bay option or Green Bay offense. Aaron Rodgers don't have a lot of people to throw the ball to, and Randall Cobb and Sammy Watkins, they're the veterans on the team. He's only 4,700, 2.9% ownership. That's a great stack with Aaron Rodgers and maybe Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon. Same with Romeo Doubs. I mean, he's supposedly, I guess he's been one of Aaron Rodgers' favorite targets over the offseason. He's played really well. He's outplayed other people. People can't cover him. And he's only 3,000 salary. Its ownership's a little higher at 7.3%. I mean, it's not all that high, but at 3,000, I mean, that's definitely a great flyer to take. I mean, I'd want some Green Bay on pretty much almost every lineup I make because everybody's so cheap. Obviously, I got Christian Kirk down here. He's the number one for Trevor Lawrence now, and I expect them to take a nice leap. Only for 5,100 and 8.9% ownership, being the number one receiver, I think that's a good chance that he could go off as well. Rashard Bateman, I should have. Oh yeah, he's one of my 3 likes. Okay, yeah, he's one of my favorite people on this slate, to be honest, because Lamar Jackson isn't going to have a lot of options. It's just going to be him and not Travis Kelce, but Mark Andrews. Couldn't think of his name. And with Marquise Brown being gone, I mean, that's definitely going to have a lot of vacated targets. So I'd expect Rashad Bateman. I mean, he was already looked good last year, but he wasn't getting a lot of targets, and he was injured a lot and stuff like that. So definitely a good spot to take a shot on Rashad Bateman. I mean, especially against this Jets defense. I mean, I expect Lamar Jackson to play very well against them Jets. So that's an amazing spot for him. Michael Thomas is actually playing today, so I'm pretty excited about him against that Atlanta defense. I'd stack him with maybe Chris Olave or Alvin Kamara. And obviously we know Jameis Winston's very cheap at quarterback. So that's one of my favorite stacks of the week is Jameis Winston and probably Michael Thomas and Chris Olave. I mean, Chris Olave isn't really getting a lot of ownership. He's only at 1.3%, as you can see down here at the bottom of the threes. Chris Olave and Michael Thomas, I think, are kind of getting slept on a little bit too. And of course, Juju Smith-Schuster up here at the top. I feel like everybody's on Travis Kelce. You know, Juju Smith-Schuster's, I mean, he's at 11.6% ownership. I mean, that's kind of upper mid range. He's above the average of the field there, but he's only 5,200 too. So 5,200 for a number one receiver on Patrick Mahomes' offense. Yeah, sign me up for that, because even if the ownership stays at 11% or goes higher than that, for 5,200 for possibly the number one receiver on Patrick Mahomes' offense, I mean, that's just a steal regardless. I mean, unless it gets up into 20% range. I mean, that's the only way I'd maybe stay away from him, but where he's at now, he's definitely a fire play. Obviously, Randall Cobb, he's the same reason as Romeo Doubs, just very cheap. He's on that Green Bay offense that anybody be catching balls here. I mean, I wouldn't be making any huge stacks with Green Bay because you just don't know which one of these guys are going to be the standout. But I would definitely put one in here and there. And of course, Randall Cobb's been one of his favorite players for years, so might be a good option there. We got Jahan Dotson and Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney is actually one of my favorite players as well because he's on that New York Giants. With Brian Daboll coming over there to the New York Giants, I feel like Kadarius Toney might, and that offense might actually be better this year. So I'd be taking a shot there. 5.7%, very cheap, 4,100. So definitely great. Michael Pittman. He's just like with like I explained earlier. If you play Michael Pittman, don't play Jonathan Taylor. If you play Jonathan Taylor, don't play Michael Pittman. Unless you want to take a shot on Matt Ryan having to get enough points to support both of them, but that's a lot of points for Michael or Matt Ryan. So Michael Pittman is definitely a great option if Jonathan Taylor doesn't go off. I have a feeling Jonathan Taylor will, but we'll just have to see how it turns out. He's only 5,500, 14.8% owned. Go check out KJ Osborne up here. That's definitely I feel like it's a great pick because everybody's going to be on Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. And KJ Osborne's sitting down here at 4,900.9% owned. I just feel like KJ Osborne's he's set up to have a better year this year. Adam Thielen's kind of on the decline. KJ Osborne's kind of on the is playing better and doing better, and he's expected to be better this year. They have a more pass. They're expected to have a more pass-heavy option offense this year, so that's another good thing. I would definitely be taking some shots on Osborne. We're going to go to the next set of receivers here. We got Mecole Hardman, Amon St. Brown, Mecole Hardman, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Smith, Hunter Renfrow, MVS, George Pickens, Jalen Waddle, Skylar Moore, Jarvis Landry, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams. All right, so yeah, it's got these. I mean, Justin Jefferson in here. I mean, there's just always a chance that he could go off. So I mean, that's a really long reason he's in there. Jamar Chase, the same thing. It's not the best matchup. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh divisional rounds usually end up being low scoring games, but you can always take a shot on Jamar Chase. I mean, he's just like Justin Jefferson. Devontae Adams, same thing. I mean, there's just so many options over there with the Raiders the Raiders. It'd be hard to pay off an 8,100 salary. That's a very high salary, especially at 13% ownership. I mean, I probably won't play a lot of Devontae Adams, but you definitely got to get him sprinkled in there. Jarvis Landry on that New Orleans Saints offense, great pick. Look at his ownership, 1.1% owned as a projected ownership. I mean, at 5,000 salary, I mean, I'll definitely be taking some shots on Jarvis Landry. He was a target. He got a lot of targets over there in Cleveland. So I mean, there's definitely a good chance. I mean, it could just be the Jarvis Landry Michael Thomas show. I don't know if they want to get the rookie Chris Olave involved. So I mean, you can take a shot there as well. Sky Moore, he's like the only one on the Chiefs offense that has low ownership. He's only 3,800. Who knows? Take a shot. I mean, he's fast. He might catch some nice deep balls. Tyreek Hill up here, 6,800, 5.5%. He's just on there just because, I mean, that New England Patriots defense is pretty good. Should keep his ownership down pretty low. So there's still a pretty good chance Tyreek Hill still goes off just because it's Tyreek Hill. I mean, you can dump off some short passes to him. You can take it to the house and build you a lot of fantasy points up a lot more quickly. Mecole Hardman is just another piece of that. Chiefs offense is very cheap and low owned. 4,600, 5.9% ownership, so you can throw him in there. Hunter Renfrow is just another piece of that. Las Vegas team, 5,800, 4.3% owned. MVS, another thing with the Chiefs, another piece of that low owned, 4,700. I mean, just taking shots. I mean, these guys, some of these guys down here, more than likely ain't going to do all that great. And if they do, they ain't going to pay off their salary for tournament play. But it's just kind of taking shots down through here. Jalen Waddle, he's only 2.9% owned because of the Tyreek Hill situation. But what if Jalen Waddle gets more targets than we think? Tyreek Hill plays decoy, and Jalen Waddle catches, gets some nice catches and target volume. So I mean, there's definitely would be a shot I'll be taking there. And the last set of wide receivers, there's all kinds of wide receivers here, but I was just kind of skimming through them and just picking out some of the names that popped off to me. We got Adam Thielen, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Brandon Cooks, Mike Williams, A.J. Green, Deontay Johnson, Elijah Moore, Terry McLaurin, Nico Collins, Wan'Dale Robinson, Robert Woods, Chase Claypool, and Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk, of course, has had a lot of talk this year that he could be taking a step forward. And that game's supposed to be rainy and sloppy, but it could still be a good chance to take because he's only 1.5% owned at 5,200. Brandon Ayuk, he has a chance to step it up and get a higher target volume, but with Trey Lance, first game as just take over that starting job might be a little sketchy, but some of the players just kind of skimming through here real quick. I'm not going to talk too much about all these players, but Brandon Cooks would be a good run back versus the Indianapolis Colts. A.J. Brown would definitely be a good option to take. He's only 9.2% owned, which he's one of the top elite wide receivers. That's only 9.2% owned, only 6,400. That's not too bad at all. He could possibly have a very good game against these Detroit Lions. Elijah Moore is very low owned, which if Baltimore Ravens get a lead on him and Lamar Jackson's having his day against them, then Elijah Moore, I mean, they might have to pass a lot more. And Elijah Moore could have a good game as well. I think that's kind of all I'm going to talk about here. Well, Robert Woods as well. He's expected to possibly be the number one receiver on Tennessee as of now. He's only 5,600 and 2.3% owned, so definitely be a nice little shot to take it there as well. But we'll go ahead and we're getting down to the bottom of my receiver pool here, so we'll go ahead and hit the tight ends up. Obviously, my top tier tight ends are Mark Andrews, Irv Smith Jr., Hayden Hurst, and Robert Tonyan. Robert Tonyan because he's on that Green Bay offense, and there's just no options anywhere. I just feel like he could have a huge game here. He's only 3,900 and 2% owned. Sign me up for some Robert Tonyan. Irv Smith, same thing. Everybody's on. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen on the Vikings, and we got Irv Smith sitting here at 3,400 and 6.9% owned. Mark Andrews, that's a pretty obvious pick there. I mean, he's going to be the biggest beneficiary for Marquise Brown being gone. Mark Andrews is already getting a lot of target volume, having big games with Marquise Brown, so I would expect Mark Andrews to be Lamar Jackson's reliable target at this point. Hayden Hurst taking over for Asumo, however you say it. And Asumo had some pretty good games last year. He's only 3,300 and 3.7% owned. Definitely worth taking a shot there. Then we got, of course, Travis Kelce. But he's way too high owned here, 20%. I'd much rather get to Mark Andrews instead of playing Travis Kelce. I mean, if you look at Mark Andrews up here at the top, he's only 9.3% owned. Then you got Travis Kelce, who's projected for 20% ownership. So it's a lot higher. It's not much of a salary difference. So, and I just feel like Mark Andrews could be going off against these Jets. So it's just definitely a good spot there. You take a shot on Gerald Everett on the Chargers. He's only 3,800 and 5.7% owned. Of course, everybody's going to be on Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. So if Mike Williams and Keenan Allen don't catch touchdowns, Gerald Everett might be the one to do so. I think that's kind of all I'm going to talk about here. I mean, there's the list if you want to check out my list. If you want to, look a little deeper into these, the list of players that I have. Obviously, I let you know before the likes. I have 3 likes for my favorite plays, 2 likes for players I like a little bit less, and 1 like for players that I'll just be taking shots on. And this is for GPP. I'll give you a couple lineup ideas here. Well, this is kind of going to be just showing you my GPP strategy. So basically, like, what we do is, what I've been doing, you just pick a strategy and you stick with it for the whole season. Something that doesn't happen very often, that a lot of other people don't pick. So, like, my strategy is the Aaron Rodgers and, yeah, we got Aaron Rodgers right here. That highlighter thing wasn't working very well. But, yeah, so we got Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Randall Cobb. So my strategy is to run a quarterback with a running back with 1 wide receiver. And the reason that is because a lot of people don't stack quarterbacks with running backs and wide receiver because of the fact that they think that there's a negative correlation there, which there can be, and there is most of the time. However, if you go back and look at Aaron Rodgers, his games last year, when he threw like 4 or 5 touchdowns, there was a couple games where Aaron Jones caught 2 of them touchdowns, and one of the other wide receiver caught 2 touchdowns. And the Osmo guy, the one that runs the stats or runs the website for all the information that is in this video, he actually won $1 million contest last year running quarterback, running back, wide receiver. It was a Seattle stack. He had Russell Wilson, Rashard Penny, and somebody else. It might have been DK Metcalf or Lockett. But he won $1 million doing that. Yeah, I mean, I've done really well running quarterback, running back, wide receiver. You can always even throw a defense in or a run back if you want. I don't run the run backs because everybody else runs the run back. I'm just trying to keep my lineups different. I try to keep my ownership projection down here at the bottom, 94.4. I try to keep that below 95. That's just the total ownership of all the players put together. So for this lineup, we got Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Randall Cobb. And the next lineup I show you I'll kind of show you how I run my GPPs. We got Michael Pittman. Obviously, we're not going to have Jonathan Taylor in this lineup since we got Michael Pittman because we're looking for a ceiling play. We want Michael Pittman to catch 2 touchdowns. So I mean, we don't want to have to rely on another player on that team. We got Kadarius Toney. He's just a cheap play that taking a flyer on there. And we got Mark Andrews. He's just set for a huge game against the New York Jets. Marquise Brown. I mean, he's in that shootout against the possible shootout against the Chiefs. So I mean, that's a great play here too. So we'll go ahead and go to the second lineup. So we did Randall Cobb for the first one. All right. So I'll show you what I do. So next one I'll go Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, and Romeo Doubs. And this takes a lot of the guesswork out. So you're not trying to guess which wide receiver is going to do well. You're already assuming. I'm already waiting on Aaron Rodgers to throw 2 touchdowns to Aaron Jones. I mean, that's just what I'm waiting on for my GPP to hit. You're basically just running the same strategy the whole season, just waiting on your strategy to hit. You want to find something that other people aren't doing, and you just be patient. You just take the losses when they come, and then eventually it hits. And hopefully you're on the right side of that once it hits. You got the right players in your lineups. So we got, for this one, Romeo Doubs, Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers. We have Jonathan Taylor in this one, so we won't have Michael Pittman in this one. We want that ceiling play from Jonathan Taylor this time. We got Najee Harris, AJ Green because Randall Moore's out, Kadarius Toney, Travis Kelce in that shootout. And obviously my ownership projection here is still below 95. That's it, 92.3. And for the third one, we got Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Sammy Watkins. So we just kind of like go through and pick each wide receiver and put it with Aaron Jones. I might even do some with A.J. Dillon in each wide receiver. Just because you want to keep the guesswork out of it, and you just want to have each each combination to make sure that you have it when one of them wide receivers hits with Aaron Jones. This one I got Michael Pittman. I'm looking for that ceiling play. This lineup, actually, I just noticed that it's got Kadarius Toney and Saquon Barkley. I wouldn't normally do that. And with them not having the greatest offense, I mean, it's kind of a, I would definitely switch out probably Kadarius Toney here, try to find something different. I just noticed that, and no big deal. But you could try to run that, but the odds are that both of them hit a ceiling game are not very good. Obviously, same thing. We got Sammy Watkins, who's low owned, and then Mark Andrews, good chance. Marquise Brown, great chance with that and that shoot up potential. So, but that's kind of how I run it. If you have any questions about my tournament strategy or lineups or DFS in general, just put a comment down in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'll definitely be getting back to you. I'll get back to every comment I see. So, good luck to everybody today. I'm gonna be making another video right after this one. Don't want a competition thing with these 3 lineup optimizers: Stokastic, Fantasy Nerds, and Fantasy Pros. So if you're interested in seeing that, see whose optimizer is putting out the best projections, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you get notified when I make that video. And if you like the content in this video, please make sure you hit that like button and comment something in the comment section, your favorite player or question that you have for this DFS slate. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm, so I definitely really appreciate that if you would do so. But good luck to everybody today. I hope everybody does well. Feel free to use my DFS strategy, but I recommend making up your own. But you can use mine as well. I don't mind sharing money with people, that's fine. But that's all I got for you today. Good luck to everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.